The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the New Media Factory. Some programs on this network might include strong images and language and may not be suitable for all audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
This episode of Hands On is brought to you by Ceres Sal Football Club.
Why did you refuse to be the Ascal's head coach countless times?
I've been there, done that. Too much politics, like I said. Like I posted one time a few days ago, coaching is a thankless job. With what's happening with Michael Weiss, we talked about it already before, personally, one-on-one, and I said, it happens. And I said, you should know that because you worked also somewhere in other countries as well. There's no such thing as a permanent job in coaching, in any sport.
So dramatic, right? You just get the lighting like that, up close, tight shot. Hello guys, welcome to the 12th episode of Hands On. Man, we've been doing this a while.
Well, by the 13th, we should get our money.
Awesome stuff. Hello guys, it's a new early...
Why is somebody turning around? She turned her back.
Oh, that's the producer. She doesn't want to hear it. What is this? An early edition of Hands On. It's a Monday afternoon, and we're streaming.
Are we live today?
Yeah,
No.
live.nmfnetwork.tv. We've got a special guest on the show as usual, and it's going to be a fun chat. But first, of course, we have to start things off with Football 101. Coach Hans and myself are going to attempt to explain.
Don't say attempt. That makes a fool out of us.
No. We will explain a few things. We talked about the fouls and misconducts on our previous show, but we're going to get in depth when it comes to direct and indirect free kicks and other aspects of the game as well. So let's jump straight into it. Direct and indirect free kick. The only difference is obviously if it's a direct free kick, you can hit the ball directly into goal, and that can be counted.
Yes.
An indirect free kick, it means when you hit the ball, it has to take a touch, right? So usually you'll have somebody who'll push the ball before somebody strikes it forwards.
Can hit the opponent.
Yeah, right. If it takes a deflection, that'll be counted as well. But what constitutes the referee calling a direct free kick?
Okay, for those guys who don't really know football, you would know if the referee blows his whistle on a foul, you know it's a foul. If he raises the referee, if he or she raises his or her hand, that is an indirect. Okay? That is an indirect. That can be played right away. Okay? You can put the ball down where the foul was done, and you can play it off right away. Right?
So there's no need to wait for the whistle?
No need for the whistle. If the referee blows his whistle for a foul and he doesn't raise his hand, then definitely that is a direct free kick. That is when you see the referee point to his whistle. Okay, this is what I explained last week.
Yeah.
When the referee points whistle, that means he's telling the player on the ball, wait for my whistle. Because there will have to be the 10-yard rule.
Right.
Okay? So, fouls on indirects are these minor fouls, just like tripping, pulling of the jersey, and all that. Dangerous play, like I said when I was talking to our guest earlier, dangerous play should be a major foul.
Right.
It's not a minor foul, because that's dangerous, obviously. They call it dangerous.
Right.
Okay. Now, direct free kick are the major fouls like spitting, striking, handling the ball during a goal scoring chance, or impeding the run of a striker or an offensive player when he's playing one-on-one and he's tackled hard and all that. That is a direct free kick. At the same time, that could also constitute a red card.
Or a yellow.
Okay, goal scoring chances. Yeah, if it's a goal scoring chance.
All right.
Okay, if it's a one-on-one thing. So those are the variables that constitutes a indirect or direct free kick. Last week we touched already on the fouls, and we said it also last week. What were those fouls that would call for an indirect or a direct? So that's the main thing. All right, we go next to the. Move on.
I think we got a video of like a direct free kick, just to make it clear to everybody what a direct free kick is.
Okay.
Are finding out of Old Trafford.
There's a push from behind.
He obviously doesn't think so.
Like every other player and coach.
All right. So a push from behind. This was considered
An indirect. That should be an indirect. Let's see.
But it looks like David Beckham's going to take this direct. Is this Greece? that they're up against?
Yes.
Oh, this was for England to qualify for the World Cup or the European Championship?
I didn't see the referee.
Right, so it looks like a direct free kick.
Okay, the referee didn't raise his hand.
Right, and that's the kind of impact the direct free kick can have in a game, especially when you have somebody like David Beckham kicking the ball.
That's why you'll see a lot of coaches who really get pissed off when a shooting distance from the goal is about 25 yards out.
Right.
It's just a few feet, maybe a foot to 2 feet. Correct me if I'm wrong. Outside the box on the penalty line. Those are shooting areas.
Right.
So if a player, you see coaches get pissed off or the teammates get pissed off when you create a foul in that area, that's dangerous, just like what David Beckham just showed you. Because almost every team has got a,
a specialist.
Free kick specialist, which, it's like giving a last second foul shot.
Right.
For basketball when it's not needed, a foul that's not needed.
A little bit more difficult than a free throw, but
yeah, well,
right. But that's I think that's one of the things that's controversial about like the indirect free kick, because that didn't seem like a very serious foul that was committed.
No. That's why, like, things like calls like this, you can't protest this. This is judgment.
Judgment by the referee.
The protests only come technicalities.
Right.
But judgment, which is a lot here in the Philippines, all judgment calls, and the teams are screwed. And the coaches will be suspended next time. Guess who?
All right, so there you go. Direct and indirect free kick. Let's move on to penalty kicks, which is very simple. Penalty kicks, any foul that's committed inside the box or the penalty area, obviously by the defending team, to an attacking player will constitute a penalty kick, which is the ball being placed how far away? 12 yards from the goal, and one player is going to get the opportunity to kick the ball against the goalkeeper. It's a one-on-one situation. The rest of the players will have to stay outside of the penalty box.
Yeah, outside the penalty box and away from the arc.
Right.
That's on top of the penalty box.
And they're only allowed to come into the box once the ball has been struck.
Yes.
But usually you'll see a few players stepping into the...
There are a lot of different situations during penalty kicks. You will see some penalty kicks being taken, and then the referee asks or says, retake.
Right.
Even if the goal went in.
Correct.
So there are different things, like if a teammate comes in inside the box before the kick is taken, then that's no goal.
It's encroachment, right?
Yes. If it comes from the defending team, and the penalty kick was, let's say, missed or taken by the keeper, it's a retake.
Right.
So there's a lot of other things, like
you can also do a retake if the goalkeeper comes off his line too early.
Off the line.
Right.
Old days, the goalkeeper can't even freaking move on his line. Okay? Now the goalkeeper is allowed to move side to side, but on the line.
Right.
On the line. If he moves out like one step forward before the kick is taken, and he takes it, then that's a retake. Okay, but if it goes in, the referee will call it a goal.
Yeah, it's a rule that sometimes you see it being broken, though. Like you'll have the goalkeeper come out and he'll get away with it.
Yeah.
But that's the rule on that particular situation.
Yes.
That you should not be coming off the line.
For those who don't know why a penalty kick is taken, like Jim said earlier, inside the box, like the most obvious is handballs.
Yeah.
Even if you say ball to hand, on the playing pitch, except for the penalty box, there are calls wherein the referee doesn't blow his whistle, none calls, even if there's an obvious handball.
Right.
That's what they call ball to hand. Okay? But inside the penalty box, I don't think they call a ball to hand.
No.
As long as there's a handball inside the box, for sure, 99.9% the referee will call it penalty.
That's another one of those judgment situations where you have to judge if he could have gotten his hand out of the way or if it was a situation.
Well, last week there was a big brouhaha about in the Division 1 game.
Right.
That was, I think, Pachanga versus... there were videos on Facebook, Twitter...
Stallions.
Yes. Wherein in the last minutes, everybody thought that Stallions should have been given a penalty. But there are other people who say it was not a real touch. Just Reza's hand was just on the shoulder, a little tap.
Right.
But in the UFL, even in the second division, we can already say that there are professional floppers. Okay. What I saw personally, it was a flop. And he purposely did. I mean, because when you're there, when you're playing, if you're a real smart, especially if you're a striker, a little nudge, a little touch on you, and you know you don't have a goal because the keeper you covered properly and all that, you just freaking fall.
We were talking about OJ Clarino's situation when he was, it wasn't a handball situation, but he was bearing down on goal. Reza was behind him, obviously knowing that OJ is going to have a clear-cut opportunity. Tried to do a little bit to sort of get him off his groove of shooting, of hitting the ball. But there was a slight tug. I saw it, and I was right behind the goal when this incident happened. And I guess the only thing that went against OJ at that particular point was it looked like he was looking for the contact instead of going for the ball immediately. And he waited for the contact to happen, and when he got hit, he threw his hands up and sort of, tried to sell the call a little bit more.
I wonder if he was stopped by the coach. I wonder.
If it was a penalty or not, it could have been. It really could have been given. There was definitely contact there.
It's a judgment thing. Yeah. It's up to how the referee sees it, right? Actually, going back to the Pachanga Stallions game, earlier on in the second half, it was clearly seen on TV in the replay where the jersey of Balot was being tugged by Rezan, and he just let it go.
Right.
That alone, because it was perfect, the camera was panning right there. I don't know where the referee was, but that one can or cannot. It depends. If it stopped the player from trying to score, the thing here is a lot of the referees here in our country don't call or give warnings for simulations. Simulation, folks, is acting.
You don't get there's not really any contact, but you're falling over, pretending as if there was contact. It's a very hot topic right now, especially in the Premier League. A lot of that is going on.
This reminds me of, did you guys see the video about a few years back? It was an Italian club thing, how to fall. During training, the coach will just blow his whistle, and then you see all the players fall down, holding their leg, or running, then suddenly they trip on themselves. Right. You never saw this?
No,
you never
heard about it.
Did you see it?
All right, well, that's the penalty kick, and then very quickly, let's get into the throw-in. Whenever the ball moves, is kicked out or whatever, touched out on the sidelines.
Sidelines only, huh?
Sidelines. The person who kicks it out will give the ball to the opposing team. That's a throw-in situation. And of course, a proper throw-in, and you see this a lot during casual games, let's say in BGC or the camp or Emperador Stadium, wherever you're playing your pickup games. A lot of people throw the ball in incorrectly. You have to get the ball behind your head and release it behind your head when you throw it. And you have to make sure that both of your feet are on the ground. You can tiptoe, but
follow through.
What's that?
Follow through.
Okay.
Follow through.
Yeah.
You cannot throw it like this. Okay, but nowadays I've been watching EPL, Italy, the Premier, and everything. Even raising the leg, they don't call anymore.
Really?
Yes.
Well, sometimes they get away with that, but suppose the rule is you have to keep both feet on the ground, but you can tiptoe. But as long as both feet are on the ground.
You can slide it.
Yeah.
You can your hind leg, and you can slide it.
Yeah, but you got to keep it on the ground, right?
Both feet has to be on the line or behind the line, not inside the field, and then. There are a lot of things. People think throwing is just as simple as just throwing like this, what you see on the picture, right? But, okay, number one, a throw-in, Team A, kick the ball out. Obviously, it'll be a throw-in for Team B.
Right.
Now, like what Jing said earlier, when you do a throw-in, the ball has to come from the back of your head with extended arms, extended elbows. You cannot bend it after you release, unless you go down this way. There should be a follow-through, okay? You cannot raise the leg. Any leg, you cannot raise it. But like I said earlier, I've seen a lot of games now, lately, the referees let it go.
It's kind of like NBA and traveling. Sometimes you just
oh my gosh, that's entertainment.
They just don't bother calling it.
Then there are things, again, when you throw in a long ball, the ball is inside, okay, within the area. Folks, football field, if the lines are like this, it's going this way, okay? The line is going all the way up. Not like in basketball. In basketball, you're inside the court. You hold the ball out like this, outside, the ball's still in play.
Right.
In football, in the air, when the ball is out of the line, okay, that's out of play. So, a football field, where you see the dimension of the field, the ball is played inside. When it's in the air and it's outside the line, it's outside.
Okay.
So in the throw-in, for example, a corner kicker like this. In a throw-in, with the spin of the ball or strong winds, you throw it in, nobody gets it, it hits the ground, then bounces out. Whether nobody touches it, it's a throw-in for the other team. Okay? Or you're throwing it in the air, it's in the air, then the ball would, swing because the wind towards out. That's out. That's throwing for the other team. Now, is there a retake in a throw-in? Yes, there is. If the throw was already from outside, but the throw was here, still outside or by the line. Okay?
God, I'm so confused right now.
I thought too fast. I thought you wanted to play again. You got no. If the ball is thrown on the line, doesn't really enter the field, then goes out. It's not going to be a...
As long as it doesn't enter the field, the player can throw it out.
It's a retake.
Okay.
It's a retake.
Okay.
And there is one more thing, which only happens in the Philippines. There is no offside in a throw-in. if like Anton or like remember Jason, they can throw it all the way up to the penalty box.
Right.
Okay, even if it's, let's say I'm going extreme. Let's say they throw it from the half line and they throw it all the way to the box.
Yeah.
There's no defender by the box and the teammates of Anton or Jason's right there. There's no offside.
There's no offside.
No freaking way. No ifs, no buts.
Yeah.
But here there is. Because I remember last week also. Was it last week or one of the first games?
God,
Or was it the first day?
Let's not remind them. Okay. Let's do goal kicks. Goal kicks are very simple. If the attacking team puts the ball out on the end line, then
Goal line.
out of the goal line, then the defensive team will then get a goal kick. There is that 8-yard or 6-yard area where the keeper has to put the ball within that area to kick it out for the goal kick. And defenders are sometimes allowed to. Defenders will sometimes kick the ball if the goalkeeper sucks at, punting the ball out. That's allowed as well. That's not an issue. Corner kicks is if when the defensive team puts it out on their goal line.
Wait first. For the kids. Goal kick doesn't mean that the goalkeeper has to take it.
Yeah.
Anybody.
Right.
And a goal kick the ball has to move out of the box.
Oh, correct. Yeah.
If, let's say, if the teammate of the goalkeeper receives the ball inside the box, it's a retake.
It's a retake. Right.
If the opposing player intercepted the ball but still inside the box, that's a retake.
Okay.
The ball needs to get out of the box before it's,
In play.
In play.
All right.
Properly in play.
And last but not the least, of course, is the corner kick. Very useful for attacking teams. Whenever the defensive opposition puts the ball out on their goal line, you will get a chance to kick the ball from the corner, as you're seeing Ronaldinho do here. There's that little half circle that is in that corner area. That's the region where you can place the ball. You can't put it outside of that little area, or else they'll ask you to retake it. That Loyola Meralco Sparks fans know all about this. They had a goal disallowed in the 2011 UFL Cup, where they had to retake it. They had already scored because the ball had apparently been outside of that little semicircle. So yeah, from the corner kick, anybody's free to hit it into.
In the corner kick, like I said, there are free kicks, direct, indirect.
Yeah.
They're specialists. Corners, same thing. For me, one of the best examples of real good corners or crosses comes from James, young husband. Really high, curving balls, whatever. Can a goal be scored directly from a corner? Yes. Without touching another player? Yes.
Okay. There you go. All right. So
And the corner, wait, there's another 10-yard line from the corner. Can we get back to the diagram? If that's what you call
Oh,
it.
that's right. You explained this last week. There is that 10-yard area.
Okay, you see the corners, folks. There's supposed to be another line outside. A small line drawn outside the field. That means that the opposing player, the defensive player, cannot be ahead of that line.
Yeah.
It's a 10-yard rule also.
Yeah. You have to have like 10-yard distance.
Yes. Again, we see, right, you see the four corners. There's another, in between, okay, if we're talking the one
This is gonna be a tough one.
I can't do this,
Alright.
fun parks, those.
All right, right here.
Easy.
All right, if you're watching this, then I'm pointing right into that little semicircle where the corner is supposed to be taken.
If you see the half line, the circumference there in the corner, then you see the line, baliktad na naman ako.
Yeah.
Then the line here, the 10-yard line is between
The penalty box
side and the corner.
Yeah.
All right.
You got to be behind that at least.
Again, like I said again, the throw-ins. If we kick it from this side, okay, we're here. From that corner, if you take it with the left foot,
And the ball swings out.
especially for kids, the ball will swing out and go in. Linesman should be seeing it because the linesman will be right by the corner on the other side. All right. Now, when it's on the line, the linesman will call it outside.
Right.
And when that happens, there's no retake. It's already a goal kick for the defensive team.
All right, there you go. All right, another Football 101 done and dusted. We're going to be back to introduce a special guest for today. And it's going to be...
Sino again? Today's Monday. Clue na yan, clue.
We'll be right back with a special guest for today. Stick around.
Hi. They say nothing in this world is free, and for the most part, that's true. But here at NMF Network, all shows are indeed 100% free. And as an added feature, you have the option to subscribe to all your favorite programs, also at no charge. Why should you subscribe? By subscribing, you no longer have the hassle of delays when you stream the program. You also don't need to keep checking our site to see if your favorite programs are up because they'll automatically be uploaded to your device as soon as it's available. Here's how to do it. For those people with Apple mobile devices, first you need to download the podcast app. Once you download the podcast app, open it. You should be taken to the featured page. Now, you look for the store button. Hit the store button, and after doing that, hit the search button. Put your cursor on it and type New Media Factory. All our shows should automatically appear. Pick your favorite or favorites, open it, and hit subscribe. And that's it, you're done. Congratulations and welcome to the New Media Factory family.
Tell me, what is football for you?
Wow. Football, that's my livelihood. That's my life. My life revolves around sport. That's it. I mean, everything is there. If it's not football, it's nothing else.
Pakiulit nga yung sinabi mo. Welcome back.
Sabi sa Robin Padilla.
Very quickly, all right, it's time for us to introduce the man who's been handed the responsibility of bringing Kaya FC back to the glory days. You know, it's a very storied club. Went through a bit of a blip in the last couple of years, and now it looks as if things are looking up once again for Kaya FC, and hopefully some titles for the supporters out there. Let's welcome to the show, Coach David Perković. Welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Pressure.
No, but I mean, Coach David, I mean, we like I said, I've been watching Kaya for quite some time. When the league started in 2009, a lot of hype was surrounding Kaya FC because they had won the UFL a number of occasions, and it didn't really pan out the way they would have liked. They got close to that area where they were competing at like the second or third place, but they never actually got their hands on the trophy again. And then they got very close in 2011, but albeit with a little bit of pragmatic football, I would call it. And then you came in just last year, sort of in charge of transitioning into this new era of KFC, and you guys are doing so really well in the beginning of the UFL. So how do you feel about the responsibility?
I feel blessed to have this opportunity. Kaya are a very, as you said, historic club in Manila in the Philippines. Thank you. And it's I suppose the club has allowed me to sort of manage it the way I see best fit for the club. So we've had a lot of changes, and we're only 3 games in, but so far so good.
So, You haven't been there a year yet, have you? 12 months? Not yet?
March will be 12 months.
12 months. You need to go about 18 more months to beat the record of the longest staying coach in Kaya. You know who that is? You don't know?
You, right?
I was the longest.
Okay.
I didn't know I lasted 2 years and a half. I didn't know I lasted 2.5. I don't think I have to talk about it anymore because I'm sure you've seen it when you just stepped in. There are quite some number of characters and personalities that is not wanted for a serious club. Do you know that Kaya, your team, is your club is like compared to Ginebra in the PBA, the Philippine Basketball Association, the most fans, most weird fans, noisiest fans. That's Kaya. And most girls, man. Hey, speaking of that, are you married?
Yes, I am.
Your wife's here with you?
Most of the time, she is.
Wrong decision. Anyway. Okay, go.
So it's an interesting situation. When you got brought in, obviously there was a lot of surprise that they had picked out a coach from Australia to come here to the Philippines. How did that come about, you making it over here to the country?
One day I was looking through my emails and I had an email from Masa Omura saying if I'll be interested in applying for a job in the Philippines.
I didn't know Masa was a Japanese Australian.
I coached Masa back in Sydney, and I said, yeah, sure, I'll be keen to know more about the job. So he gave me 2 emails to email my resume and cover letter over to. I got a quick response back from Paul Tolentino, the general manager, to set up a Skype interview. We had 2 Skype interviews over the next 2 days, and about a week and a half later, I was here.
Wow.
Just a week and a half. Huh?
Really quick.
From what I heard, and I got the wrong chismis again.
What?
Did Lee Gunn have anything to do with this?
No.
No, see?
No.
Puro kayo mga chismosa. And Lee Gunn had nothing to do with Coach David Perković being here.
Having said that, I did talk to Lee after the opportunity arose.
After, no.
After, yeah.
So then nothing, just Masa, the Japanese orange-haired Australian.
Well, it changes from time to time. So how long have you been coaching? What's your experience with the job?
Yeah, I've been coaching 8 years now. I think this is my 9th, going into my 9th year. Yeah. Back home in Australia, in Sydney, I started coaching at youth level. 14s, I think, was my first gig. I already knew what I wanted to do with my coaching. I wanted to coach seniors because I think it's a different art coaching kids to coaching seniors. I wouldn't have the patience to coach kids. So I quickly rose to first grade level, and that's where I met Masa.
First grade level meaning senior level?
Senior level.
Club system? Or not necessarily, it could be college?
No, it's club system.
It's club system,
yeah.
okay.
College is not really big in Australia in terms of football. It's mainly clubs.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of clubs in Sydney. So how it works is you've got the A-League, and then you've got because Australia is such a big island, you've got different states then handle football. And I was in the New South Wales state, so you got the first tier and then the second tier, and I was coaching in the second tier there.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is amateur or semi-pro?
Semi-pro.
Semi-pro. So everyone in the, A grade is semi-pro?
The A-League is professional. Okay. And then underneath that is semi-pro.
Okay, this is where, was this Duff? Is it Duff? Some Australians are playing in the EPL.
No, not Damon Duff. Damon Duff, I think, is Irish. Tim Cahill, Viduka, Schwarzer.
There's quite a number of Australians playing in England, right?
Not so much anymore because Tim Cahill's moved on. He's gone to America. I think there's there's a young Australian that's just emerged in Liverpool, left back. I'm not even sure of his name. Mm-hmm. He played, just made his debut recently.
I heard about this young guy. Yeah, Australian.
A couple of young ones are starting to come through the ranks in the Premier League. Trying to think if there's a mainstay there. There's someone's missing my mind at the moment, but yeah, other than Schwarzer, I don't think there's a first 11 in England. There used to be a lot. Viduka, Harry Kewell, Tim Cahill. You had a lot back then. Chris Hurd in Aston Villa, he's another one. Doing all right.
What do you think about the AFC and FIFA putting Australia now in Asian region?
For Australia, it's fantastic. It's fantastic because Australia's only pathway to the World Cup was playing, and no disrespect to Oceania, but it's a bit of a difference in quality in Oceania compared to Asia. You would have 31-0 results, and then you have to play the 5th place South American team over 2 legs. So it was really hit and miss whether Australia could make the World Cup, and until 2006 our only appearance was 1974, so it's a long time being between drinks. So yeah, for Australia it's more regular games, and that's what they needed as a national team. And to some extent, although I think it's made a lot of the Asian countries upset that Australia's there because they're good quality, I would say, to try and make the World Cup. I think it just raises the level of Asia in terms of football, and it's something different because Australia plays a little bit differently to the rest of the Asian teams, and I think that's good for the development of the Asia as a region.
Yeah, if you look at it that way, there are 2 ways of looking at it. Because when it was announced, I know a lot of the Asian countries, especially the Southeast Asian
Just
countries, were saying, what the hell?
Unanimous.
We're having already a hard time against China, Japan, and Korea, and all this, and you bring in Australia. What the hell? What chances do we have more? You know. But I agree with you, and I agree with those other people. I think what FIFA and AFC did, I think, was to how do you say, raise the level of playing Asia, and most probably Southeast Asia. It'll be good, like say Philippines playing Australia, but even friendlies or whatever. I mean, you know,
it may happen.
Yeah.
They're being put in,
happen next year
with Southeast Asia, right?
If you get into the Asian Cup.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah.
It's in Australia, so there you go.
Is Australia being grouped in the Southeast Asian region as well, though? I heard something about that.
I heard that too.
Yes, I heard yes. But I don't.
Having said that, I think for those sort of tournaments, they would have an A-League based squad. They probably wouldn't bring up the international stars back for those games.
That's good. Yeah.
That's good for us also to give, you know, to let's say we talk about the Philippines. I cannot talk about the other countries, Southeast Asian countries, but for the Philippines, I think it's going to be a tough job for the next coach and for management and for the PFF, especially for the players to move up. You know, not just for the field foreigners, but the locals. Everybody's got to step up. You know, I mean, football's picked up, but like we always say in every episode, there are a lot of things still lacking here.
Oh yeah,
Philippine football. But you know, the main thing there, it would be good for us, for the locals, coaches, you know, everybody involved in football to look that, you know, to that level, like what David just said earlier. We might have a chance next year to play against Australia.
Man, that's going to be fun. I mean, we're probably going to get clobbered when we get there, but I mean, it's going to be a fun experience.
Well, nobody ever gave us a chance against Vietnam.
Yeah.
And look at what happened. Just one win, boom. Why can't it happen to our lives, you know? One bet or what have you, become millionaires, you know, don't work that hard anymore.
Before you got contacted by Masa Omura, what did you know about Philippine football?
Absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing?
Absolutely nothing.
Really?
The only thing I knew is when I got the job at Fraser Park, which is where I was coaching in Australia, my first training session, I got told that one of my players was in camp for the Philippines, which was Lee at the time.
Okay.
And I had to wait, I think it was a week and a half before he came back, and that's all I knew. Yeah. And apparently I got told that he had even a run at centre back in one particular game. I don't know if that's true or not. But
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah.
Yes, but I forgot who the coach was.
I mean, it's not an easy thing. I mean, you know nothing about the Philippines. What's that?
It was Cutillas.
So you hadn't known any prior information about Philippine football. Obviously, nothing about the UFL, and then you get put in charge of one of the clubs that is has a reputation. I mean, obviously they're one of the top clubs, but they also have a reputation of going through coaches. Quite a few of them. There was a lot of hearsay about a strong player culture in Kaya, and since you've been there though, there seems to be a lot more control at the club, and you don't hear the regular musings about factions in the club or
the players trying to be more than the coach,
or being a little bit or being upset at how things are being run. How does that all come about for you?
It's a little. I only know how to coach one way, or I wouldn't say coach. I know how to coach many ways. I only know how to manage one way.
Handle.
All right. How I manage is that when the players are on the park, that's my time.
Yeah.
It's not anyone else's time. It's all my time. Off the pitch, in terms of the operation side of things, that's other people's jobs, Paul's and Justin's in particular. Yeah. But when it's on the pitch, that's it. That's my time. So if anyone doesn't like that, they had a decision to make.
My sentiments exactly.
They can leave, or they can be a part of it and go forward. And it's
exactly
how we come to where we are now.
That was a main problem with Kaya. Sorry, Santi. Sorry, everything. Your coach is here. I'm gonna say it like it is. Years back, exactly. That's why I resigned. Because you being a young coach and everything, I think it's because number one, you're a foreigner, so they look at you differently. I'm a foreigner too, but I'm seen here as more than a Filipino. So players tend to think they know more than the coach, right? They want to play it this way. They want to play it this way.
It could be the timeline as well. I think it came to a point where the club had to make a decision on how they were going to go forward.
Yeah.
And I'm just fortunate that the time that they made that decision, I'm the lucky person to take over.
You know, to how do you say, give a little more credit to Cale that David replaced. Cale was very young, inexperienced, too young. He was just an assistant coach, and then management put him up in the head coach position, wherein he didn't have that much say.
Right.
Some of the players just railroaded him and all that. All due respect to Kaya management, but when I heard that Cale was appointed as the head coach that time, I said, he's not going to stay. He's not going to last. I know this because I know the personalities involved. Cale's too nice a guy, and he's young, and had no experience. With David, he's young too, but he has got more experience coaching.
Right.
And he's coaching the higher level also. So I think maybe David now would be in the best position for the club. Because I think no local coach, sorry again Kaya, but no local coach I think will last.
What's your vision with Kaya? Obviously, you've come in and you're enjoying some reasonable success right now. If you guys win trophies this year and the next, is the plan to move forward and continue to grow with Kaya?
Yeah, I don't see why not. I'm enjoying the challenge now. It's to see when I stepped into where the team was at, to seeing where it is now. I'm seeing the results on and off the pitch. On the pitch, in my opinion, and everyone has an opinion in terms of football, I think the football is better. And off the pitch, the team is really united. They're very focused on what they want. And yeah, it's a happy environment to be involved in at the moment. So I'm very lucky to be leading these bunch of boys.
David, did you know the history of Kaya when it started?
A little bit, yeah. I didn't know obviously when I took the job, but when I got here, I wanted to know a little bit about the history, and got told about the founding, the founders of the club, and even the number of stars, what that represents on the badge. So I know a little bit about that.
Just to let the public know, Kaya just started a bunch of friends.
Right.
Bunch of friends. I love to work with my former players who just loved reggae. That's why it's Kaya. Kaya Una. Una Kaya. If you know Kaya's colors, that's Rastaman colors. Okay? And one of the founders who did that, he's so into it now, he's even playing reggae all the time. Right? You met him already, Rudy?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Okay. He was my player, he was also one of my assistant coaches years back.
Very good man.
Kaya is it really started as you heard the word barkada. peer group together, all friends. They all just had the same love. They all the same love for football and for reggae music.
One love.
One love. So it just came out like this, exactly. So I think by next year, David, I think you need to have dreadlocks already.
Well,
you know.
funnily enough, my mother's from that region.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, my mum's from Grenada.
Oh.
She's a little island in the Caribbean islands.
Wow.
So I challenge you. For Christmas this year, you got dreadlocks.
I used to have long hair, not anymore.
Long hair, not dreadlocks, man.
No, it's not. It's not.
You gotta bring that back though, man. The long hair. I don't know. Somebody's gotta rival Coach Hans's hair on the pitch. So where are you from though? Originally, I mean, Australian, but there seems to be like some sort of other heritage that you're from with the name Perković.
So I'm first generation Australian. My father and all his background is Croatian, hence my surname Perković. So he's of Croatian descent. My mother was born in Grenada, and her background is into Scottish and African.
Wow.
So if I was a dog, I'll be a mutt, so I wouldn't be worth much.
You'll be.
Or I'll be a designer breed.
You'll be an Askal.
There we go.
You know the word Askal?
Yes.
Asom Kalye. Aso dog Kalye street. So a mutt is just saying it mildly.
Yes.
Mutt, but Askal is Askal. In other words, you're chop suey. You know, Chinese chop suey, everything, all of it.
All mixed in together.
Yeah, you're not alone, man. You're not alone.
Yeah.
I have so much also.
Yeah.
I have Indonesian, I have Dutch, I have little German.
No, I think it's good.
I'm just all Filipino. Boring, really.
How much you wanna bet you have some Chinese?
No way.
How much you wanna bet you have some Chinese?
I didn't. But when I asked my parents, it's like maybe a little bit of Spanish blood from my mom's side. Like very small amount. We looked at the family tree, and apparently we started off with a Spanish friar, which doesn't speak well of friars back then.
is
But
Chinese.
really?
Yes.
There's like there's a street like that in
Mostly
Indonesia.
Chinese names. You know my tutor is?
Who?
Jerry Ngo.
Uh-huh.
You start talking about his heritage, he'll never stop. You just have to leave. A lot of the Chinese names that are Filipino names now, or even American or Australian, whatever, it's usually a mixture of two.
Wow.
Lang.
Lang. Maybe not.
Maybe you're Jamaican and Chinese. I'm Jamaican.
A lot of people are wondering, Coach, how young are you?
Let me guess. Wait, you're in your early 30s.
32.
32. Wow, very young. I mean, so you started coaching at 24.
Yeah.
Shit, I'm only 8 years older than you, man.
Yeah, right. So obviously, we were discussing it a while ago, but obviously they didn't have a chance to listen to it. But you had a playing background as well.
Yeah, I wouldn't, nothing to brag about, that's for sure. I grew up in Western Sydney, which was a hotbed for football. It's where all the kind of immigrants settled. So I grew up there, and Australia is a very multicultural country, so there's a lot of Italians, you name it, there's everything there. Croatians, Serbians, Italians, Greeks, etc. So seeing kids in the local parks playing football is, when I was growing up, was normal in my area. So so I started playing football when I was 6. And I played up until 21. I retired due to many groin injuries.
You sure that's from football, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is your wife watching?
Yeah. But she probably will be later. I had my first major injury was when I was 12.
Wow.
My hip flexor just, it was my first growth spurt, and my tendons couldn't keep up, so that was and back then the medicine wasn't as good as it is now, even for Australia, in terms of, because they're now renowned for their sports science best in the world. So so I never really got it right. So I retired very early 20s. I was quite dirty with the game because I couldn't play it anymore, so I didn't even watch football for a year and a half.
Wow.
Then World Cup came around, and cannot not watch a World Cup. So that's when the desire started coming back in 2006. I actually used to manage bands as well. And the band I was managing actually wrote the theme song to Australia's 2006 World Cup.
Oh, wow.
It was a competition, they entered, it was a TV show and everything. So I was
your band won it?
And my band won it, the band I managed rather. And that I was at the MCG, which is a 105,000 capacity stadium.
Jesus.
And I was on the field and the band was playing this football theme song. And I see 105,000 people coming out, and I see Australia and Greece walking back out on the pitch, and I thought, I've got to get back into football. And I know coaching is not for everyone. Not every player can coach. Look at Maradona, for example. So I wanted to try that first, and if that worked out, I'll continue.
How did you start? You enrolled in courses, coaching courses?
Off the bat, I just called the club and said I want to coach.
Okay.
Told them a little bit my playing history. I played at a fairly high level, which was the old NSL reserve grade level, which is the old National League before it became A-League. So they gave me a job with the 14s, and at the end of that year I enrolled into the C licence, which was the first C licence in Australia, shortly after they come into the Asian region, and it all started then.
Do you know that a former Mr. Football Philippines is in Australia now?
Sorry?
Former Philippine Mr. Football Philippines. Yeah. He's Australian now. He lives I think in Sydney.
Yeah?
Good friend of Rudy. He has been dreadlocks.
Yes. I think,
Elmer.
I think he's... his son actually came out with Pascal Roos.
Yes.
Had a few training sessions
with
us,
Andrew Fletcher, yeah. He's got two sons actually that used to play. One, the older one I think used to play. Now the younger one, he's been, Laknet, I'm gonna sell you out now. He's been bugging me to let his son play for the Archers and all that. So I think now he just started a new thing. He's coaching one of the, I don't know if it's a community club. PM mo ko, I'll tell you, so I can bring it out here, huh? He's a very good friend of Rudy de Rosario. I think they were a little batchmate, not too close, but they were batchmates in the Philippine team before.
Right.
All his kids, I think, were born in Australia. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, you could see his son when he came over, and his English was Australian, really. I mean, the slang, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
He's always been. He goes Facebook. He just PMs me all the time, asks me how my teams are doing and all that.
Yeah.
And I think he's happy in Australia. I think he's in Sydney. I don't know if I'm correct. Laknet, PM ko. So
Queensland. Pretty sure he's in Queensland.
Queensland.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Queensland. Yeah. Oh yeah, because the club that he's coaching, I think, is under 18s or it's a youth thing.
Yeah.
He gave me a shirt actually of those things.
So how far did you get in Australia? You started off with the 14s, but before you got picked up by Kaya, what were you coaching?
First grade.
First grade.
Yeah, so which is seniors. Yeah.
Seniors.
Oh yeah, that's right. We talked about this already.
Sydney club.
Yeah, Sydney club. It's when I started at the club that I coached at was Fraser Park. It was kind of similar to the environment that I started with Kaya. It was a club that needed I don't know if you would call it an overhaul, but some sort of leadership in a head coaching role and direction. So coming to here, I was really familiar with that sort of role that I needed to take here. I just left prior to the season that was just about to start. Actually, it was 2 weeks before the season started, and that particular team made the semi-finals for the first time in 11 years. So
let me take a guess, David. Your two new acquisitions used to play for you?
No,
no?
One of them.
No, just one.
Thomas Taylor played for me.
Is that the defender or the midfielder?
They're both
midfielders.
Okay.
He's the
bigger guy.
tough one.
The bigger guy.
Yeah, he's actually not a holding midfielder. He's more of a number 10.
Okay.
A different sort of number 10. Mm-hmm. And the holding midfielder, Richard Greaves from Queensland.
Yeah. All right.
We get to see it now with Kaya. Obviously, there's been a shift in sort of the ideology of how they play the football now.
Yeah.
From what I see, it's a lot more fluid approach where you guys will play from the back and will play short passes. Is that something that you've brought in and something that you've used in the past? That's something that you've been nurturing since Australia?
I suppose my philosophy stems from the Australian philosophy, which takes off the back of Holland. So we've gone the Dutch way in Australia, so to speak. And my philosophy stemmed from that. I've been a long time Barcelona supporter since '92. With the Cruyff era and everything, so my philosophy kind of started from that, and yeah, playing from the back is a big thing of mine. I don't like to win ugly, so to speak. There's times where you have to. I understand that. You're first team coach, you got results. Results keep you in a job. But I want something a little bit more than that. I want something to be proud of in the end of the day. When my team comes off the pitch, win, lose or draw, I want them to be playing in the correct way, what I think is the correct way. So that's where it all stems from.
Man, Barcelona, it is painful for me to talk about Barcelona because I'm a Manchester United fan, and we got one win over you guys in a semi-final, and that was it. After that, it was just all heartbreak from there. So whenever Barcelona is mentioned, it's always like, oh, I gotta relive 2 finals where you walked out, you guys are in tears, at 3:45 in the morning, you're watching the game, and it's a horrible situation. I see you out at the games actually with your players. You mingle with them, you come out, you watch some of the games.
If some of them come out to watch the games, and I don't mind sitting with them and watching and having a look at how the other teams play, and gives us a bit of insight to see. For the players, direct opponents side of things, for me, it just gives me an idea on how I'm going to approach the game. Do we defend a little bit differently to cater the needs for the opposition? How we actually play with the ball really doesn't change. I try not to change it for any team that we play against. How we defend, sometimes I tinker that with it a little bit.
I've noticed, David, that once you got in the coaching job in Kaya, you look more into the younger players.
Yeah.
Am I correct?
Yeah.
You want more youth.
Yeah.
Okay.
A part of being a head coach for me is not only titles, so to speak. It's about, I'm in a country now that development is so much needed. So I try to bring in some young kids to nurture along as much as I can, without losing the foresight of what my immediate job is. I do like to try and give young kids an opportunity. And try to give the kids that realise what an opportunity is, that opportunity. So, and they're more manageable in terms of, they're a little bit more inexperienced. Yeah. However, they haven't developed any bad habits yet.
Yeah, I was about to say.
And it's trying to just get that right mix, because don't get me wrong, we've got some good young players that's coming through, and some that haven't really featured yet. But they've got some great leaders in Chris, Anton as well, that steers them around, that really helps out in that department, even Massa as well. They're the senior players of the squad that really nurtures these young guys as well, because they act like coaches on the pitch for me as well, whether it's training or in the game.
Well, Chris coaches the youth.
Of course, yeah.
Even before he came over to play for the Ascos, he was already a coach of the youth. That's what I was about to say. Inexperience is innocence. But once you get your experience, you have your horns starting to grow. That's why when David was explaining himself exactly what I think about, I mean, my teams are always the young ones. Yeah. Even in the collegiate level, most of the time I have younger players than the other college players. Of course, it'll always be good to have someone a little experience, like Anton, Chris, Massa. So Massa should be now the senior citizen of Kaya, is it?
Yeah, he's one of the.
He is the senior citizen.
Yeah, that's right.
That's why Massa.
Anton, Eddie, I think they're the longest. Anton and Eddie.
Yeah.
And then Massa wouldn't be too far behind. I think he's been here.
The only the only one that is in Kaya now, when I was still coaching, exactly, is Anton and Eddie.
Yeah.
That's it. Nobody else. Everybody's bye-bye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All a new breed. That's why Masa, no wonder Masa you're becoming a blondie. You don't try to look young. Pero, I'm sorry, boy. It's out in public now. You're the senior citizen.
Ali Borromeo, obviously a big cornerstone as well of Kaya FC and its history. Is he too far along now from playing?
He's still a little bit away. I admire that guy. He's got so much determination.
Sometimes too much.
So many setbacks, and I haven't even seen him play.
Right.
But like he wasn't here when I first arrived. He was in Australia doing had his surgery.
Yeah.
Actually, when I got appointed, he was having his surgery, I think 3 days later, and he rang me while I was in Australia to say hello and everything. And when I got here,
You didn't know he was with Kaya.
Sorry?
You didn't know that Ali was with Kaya.
Yes, of course.
When he gave you the call.
Yes.
While you're still in Sydney.
Yes,
All right.
definitely. When he arrived here and started turning up to training sessions, although it's a very new Kaya, the boys just act differently now. You know, Ali's around. You know, so it's good just to have him in training. Today was his first day actually doing some drills with the team.
Nice.
So I got to see him on the ball, which was nice. And he's still got a little bit of way to go. There's going to be obviously no pressure from me to rush him back onto the pitch. Yeah. And we have another player that's coming back from an ACL injury, Christian Ayu.
Right.
Only played 1.5 games for us.
And in that one game, he played pretty awesome.
Yeah, he's got to double that game. So he's a little bit further along than what Ali is. But it's very important that these guys build their confidence, because if they don't have that confidence going onto the pitch, it's way too early. So they need to tell me when they're ready, not the other way around.
Right.
Exactly. Ali, like I said earlier, too much determination. Actually, it was one of my festivals that he played in, and I told him, "What are you doing here?" And it was a rainy Sunday, and the pitch wasn't really that good. I told him, "You got to be careful, boy." I said, "Doesn't want to listen." So now you see, I told you. It's like what when I don't want to say older people. Fuck that, older people. More experienced people.
More experienced. That's
I would always say that to the youngsters.
Well done.
Don't say I didn't tell you so.
Yeah.
That's what I told Ali. But I'm happy for Ali, because that boy is so. If you've seen any addiction to football, that's Ali Borromeo.
He's got it. Yeah. He's definitely been inflicted with the poison of football.
Do you know he used to be a keeper? Started as a keeper.
Yeah. Actually,
when he was 10 years old, 11 years old, you brought him to Europe.
Funnily enough, one day we only had one keeper at training, so he jumped in, and he's not bad. He's not bad. He can keep.
Just one short story with the Ascals, long before they were called Ascals, with Cotillas. During training here, Ali was playing striker, right? When they went to the international,
He got put in goal.
they were being the keeper.
Straight back.
And he never trained when they were training here as a keeper.
That's horrible.
Don't ask me, but that's what happens. I mean, those are the peculiarities of some coaches.
Right.
I mean, all of us have our quirks.
Yeah.
Right? I don't have any. I'm so quiet.
Sure.
I sit down.
You've got evidence of that with you with a chair over your head.
Yeah, I just closed mouth, but I didn't say anything. Again, thank you, Bob Guerrero. We sit cap.
Coach David, you've been thrown in to the Philippines at a very interesting time for Philippine football. You came in last year, and that's already been 2 years since the historic day in Vietnam, where things sort of really got kick-started. What's it like for you jumping into a country where football has been anonymous for the last century or so, and then it's now just on the upturn? What's that like for you?
Actually feels a little bit like what Australia used to be like. When I was growing up, it was a semi-pro sport, and then you had big sports like cricket, Australian rules,
which I still don't understand.
And rugby, is it?
Rugby union and rugby league. They were all professional sports, and the sport that I loved was semi-pro.
Yeah.
The only difference is that even though it was a semi-professional sport, it was still the most participated sport for kids.
Oh.
So more kids played football than any other sport. But at a professional level, we were lacking. So there was a government inquiry to how football was run in Australia, which turned football on its head. So it kind of abolished old football and brought in new football. And I think he's still the CEO of Westfields, Frank Lowy. Very, very successful businessman, took the reins of football, and he's still in charge now. Football started from scratch. There was 10 new teams. It was a professional sport, and I think we're in our 10th season, 9th or 10th season.
How long did it take to prepare? How many years preparation? Because from what I heard, the J League it took about 10 years before it became what it is now.
Right,
I mean, before they started off, I think they were in the first fan base. They did, the Japanese think differently.
Yeah.
But on the first year,
yeah,
it really clicked. I mean, the stadium filled up,
right.
To the rafters, and that was just the first season.
Yeah.
The first game. It about took 10 years. In Australia, how long did it take in prep? If you know.
So from the time the initial inquiry happened to the actual league starting up, I think it was 2 years.
Just 2 years.
Yeah. Having said that, there's some really strong states in football. Sydney's not too bad, the centre of Sydney. Melbourne is powerhouse. They get big crowds all the time from day one. Where Sydney FC were based is in the heart of Sydney, and that's not really where the hotbeds are. So they struggled a little bit with fans. When I say struggled, the average crowd was 12,000, 13,000.
That's better than like 200.
Yeah.
If
that's struggling, man, we want to struggle over here, please.
Speaking of struggling, anyway.
Having said that, they've had their tough times as well. Like there is a New Zealand team in our league because part of our allowance to be in Asia was to help New Zealand football, who are still a part of Oceania. There was a New Zealand. I think they were Auckland based. They only lasted a season, and then they had a new team in Wellington. They expanded from, I think it was 8 teams to 10 teams, and then there was a Gold Coast team that now are non-existent, North Queensland team that's not existent. They put a second team in Melbourne, and only, not this season, but the previous season was a second team introduced in Sydney, Western Sydney. And that's been a real success in Sydney because that's where the hotbeds are, and they get.
What is the reason for these clubs to fall out of the league? Because of financial? Mostly financial.
Mostly, yeah. Some clubs weren't. The business side wasn't run properly, like Gold Coast, which is where Richard's from. Right. He was involved with that A-League club. They really didn't engage the local community, so they didn't really get a lot of turnout of fans, and they kind of dwindled away and died. But yeah, now the league is going really strong. Only last week, Manchester City bought a team in Melbourne.
That's right.
Melbourne Heart, which I think they're going to be changing their name to Melbourne City for the next season. So it's a really interesting time in Australia. So I see the Philippines is kind of similar to like that, because what launched Australia in terms of football was Australia qualifying for that 2006 World Cup.
Right.
Okay.
That's what launched it. So that sort of launch that you're talking about was kind of familiar with that. So that's where it all took off. But there's a lot of still hard work that needed to be done and still to be done in Australia, as there is here.
Yeah.
On the first year, what would you call it? Australian League?
A-League.
A-League.
Yeah.
Did they start off with all local players, or they already had some foreign acquisitions?
First season we had Dwight York in Sydney FC. Okay. He was the big marquee that came out. So how they have it is they got a salary cap I can't remember how much it is, 1 point or 2 point something million. Australian dollars,
Okay.
yeah. So it's big money.
Yeah.
There's one player outside of that cap that you can spend as much money you want on. So that's
Your
what they
star
call
player.
their marquee.
Yeah, your marquees.
One. Initially, it was one. Now it's two, but one of them has to be Australian.
Okay.
So the first time Harry Kewell came back to play for an A-League team, he was the Australian marquee. Sydney FC at the moment have Brett Emerton, who came from Blackburn in the EPL, came back to play, and they've got Del Piero there.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, Del Piero.
Alessandro's playing.
In Western Sydney, you've got Shinji Ono. Perth Glory's got William Gallas. And
Dude, that's where William Gallas is.
Yeah, William Gallas is there. Let me think, there's one more. Emil Heskey's in Newcastle.
Big
Heskey still
Hesk.
play?
Big Hesk.
Yeah.
That's actually the name of like the inspiration for the football club that we play for. I'm just a bunch of our friends. We get together, we play on Monday nights and Thursday nights, whatever. That was our inspiration, Big Hesk, because we'd always put the ball up to the forward and he'd always miss it. So we're like, Big Hesk.
You know, like what they did in the, what do you call it, MLS? Is that called MLS in the States?
MLS is in the States, yeah. Major League Soccer.
They had already some foreign players in, but just Pele who, Cosmos, I don't remember the numbers, but I read, before even Pele came in, it was only about 2,000 to 3,000 spectators.
Yeah.
Right.
On first match, not even a match, the introduction of Pele, stadiums jam-packed.
Yeah.
And gate receipts, Cosmos was able to make more money just out of one player, and Pele was already how old?
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
And
Similar like Del Piero. He brings crowds wherever he plays in Australia. And
mostly girls, maybe.
He's 39, just turned 39 recently.
Still quality though?
They just played Melbourne the other day and I was streaming it and scored 2 goals. It's all class.
He's still playing in his position.
Yeah, he's still playing as a number 10.
Yeah.
He's just,
You know,
as they say, form goes away, but class never leaves you.
you know, I was watching some replays of the Ballon d'Or.
Balloon d'Or.
Yeah.
Balloon d'Or.
Yeah, the one in Spain.
Not even gonna attempt it.
Oh no, Spain.
Is it Spain or Europe or Spanish?
Ballon d'Or is
World.
Footballer of the Year.
football.
Yeah.
Okay, you need to believe this. Pele only got his like an achievement thing just this year.
Oh, he's never won it?
No,
I don't think they actually had it when he was
Ah,
around.
right.
but in his speech he said it straight out. He felt bad about the other players getting ahead of him, things like that. But he did not in a way that he was arrogant. Okay, because remember in his retirement game, he played one half for Cosmos. The next time he played for Santos and scored both. He scored for both teams, right? And in New York, and all he was saying about was just love for his dad, love for the country, love for sport, and all that. I mean, he did something. I know for a fact because I was supposed to meet him personally one time for this. There's one of the pizza companies.
He came over?
No, he came over here. Nobody knew. Or stopped over one day.
It's horrible.
Oh, nobody knew that Karim Abdul-Jabbar was here.
Really?
He was here, and they just saw him there in Intercon.
Oh,
And there was no social networking at the time, so.
right.
But he was here. But only Pele was here for an overnight, I think, for just a stopover. What I know from his publicists or what have you, those people who take care of him, they don't even want him to juggle the ball anymore
Why?
because he misses. They don't want the kids
See it.
to see it. They want the kids to remember Pele as when he was
Right.
Pele, right? I mean, look. There's only some athletes that I personally think put the sport in the world. Boxing, Muhammad Ali, even way before
sure.
the others,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
other guys, no?
Yeah.
In football, it's Pele.
Yeah.
He made an art of bicycle kicks, Chinese, what they call it, Chinese kick, whatever. He made it an art, training art, because before they just play simple training and all that. I used to remember watching, like I said before, there's no color TV yet. Don't ask me what year. Oh, I was young. Okay. I used to wake up early in the morning just to watch replays of World Cup games,
Yeah.
black and white, and Pele when he was what, He's not the youngest anymore. It's Whitehead, right? Whitehead.
Pele's 74
He was 70.
now, I think he is.
Yeah, no, but when he first played the World Cup, he was the youngest player.
Yeah, he was very young.
But he was
16.
beaten by Whitehead, Whiteside, Irish or...
Oh, yeah. I'm
Quite
not
recently?
sure, yeah.
No, years ago.
Oh, a long time ago as well.
Yeah. But for a guy who scored 1,000 something goals and at the top level, we're not talking about intramurals, top level, I think nobody can get close to him. Not yet. I don't think even Messi.
I don't think anyone will.
Yeah. And you know, if you look at his games, if you look at Pele's games, it looks so simple.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. People will start saying the football gurus, as they say nowadays, they'll say defense was different before.
Yeah.
Football's football, man. It's a running game, it's a physical game. What I'm saying is, okay, Cristiano Ronaldo can score goals, Messi can score goals, they do it flashy, because that's the way it is, because the tackles are different, but Pele is the same shit. After the first World Cup, where Pele played, they really tried to kill him, but they couldn't.
Right. I think the way I establish how quality a player was or is how far ahead of the times are they. And Pele was just so far ahead. Even for me, like I didn't grow up with Pele, I grew up with Maradona, and he was so far ahead of the pack, it was ridiculous. But yeah, I think we're actually blessed to have Messi and Ronaldo around now. Like they're just for me, Messi's on a different level again. But even like if Messi wasn't around, like Ronaldo would be just wow, you know.
Yeah.
Like to have two of them in one 10-year span is just amazing. So they're so far ahead of the pack again. Like they score goals like for fun.
Yeah, exactly.
And we're talking about an era where sports science is at their peak in football. All of this, and they're just freaks. They're just freaks.
You know, when you watch the videos of Pele on certain skills training, it reminds me of Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee, the cameras have to slow down his moves. Okay, I just when you guys were talking, I just came into my head. I just saw the feet of Pele dribbling in and out of cones without missing a beat, and I can just pity the cameraman to run with him all the way. It was fucking fast. It was not just like it was boom, 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 boom. I mean, remember I told you about one time. I don't know if it's a World Cup game or whatever. The camera was on the side. Pele was running in, cross came from the other side, you don't see the ball, then suddenly you just see Pele in the air, move, lean back in the air, ball comes in and just goes, boom, and scores. I also saw one game, I think that's a World Cup because he's wearing the Brazil uniform. Two guys hit each other, trying to get him, he came in, dribble the ball, he sees coming to him, he fakes here, he puts the ball in between both of them and just runs around them. Got
two defenders together, kind of like OJ Portero.
We're talking about what decade was that? 60s. Oh my God! So, but
we got a Pele fan here.
Oh, I am a Pele. No, for me. Yeah. Maradona, no, I never idolized. I only idolized Pele and Cruyff. Like we just said about earlier, when I started my coaching career, I remember. Yeah. My career. My coaching stemmed from the Orange Clock, the Dutch total football. Right. That's until now I still do that. Okay, I still follow that principle. But speaking of the Ballon d'Or, Messi, I don't know if Ronaldo would have said the same thing if Messi won it. But Messi said, what did he say?
He deserves it.
Yeah. You know, when I see world-class athletes say things like this,
being humble.
It reminds me of Mayweather. Okay. Fucking prick. You're a coward, man.
Wow.
No, because Pacquiao already asked him for free for all charity. And we're talking about hundreds of millions here. Because this is not even those through, this is the biggest fight.
Oh, really?
And Pacquiao is not anymore after the money. Oh, what is
what's his excuse going to be now?
Yeah.
All right, we got questions coming in from on Twitter.
Skid marks. Oh wow, nice name, guy.
we came in on short notice. We put it out there, but we appreciate that you guys have responded. We really do. So let's start off with Johnny Skid Marks.
How much do you want to bet as a Kaya fan? How much do you want to bet?
I'm pretty sure he is. This is a self-serving tweet, isn't it? What can you say about Kaya fans?
They're very passionate, that's for sure.
Yeah.
They have the players back all the time, win, lose or draw. We make sure that sometimes it's hard after a loss, but we make sure that we walk over to them and give them a clap at the end of a game. Especially the ultras, they set themselves apart from the rest, in my opinion.
Yes.
From when I grew up watching TV, their passion is exactly the passion that I'm familiar with in terms of football fans. Singing non-stop from minute 1 to 90th plus minute.
And Ascos play result.
Yeah,
they're there.
They're there. Yeah.
I mean,
actually, it's the ultras and the Air Force.
Oh, Air Force.
They joined forces for the Ascos.
All right.
Yeah. So. They're fantastic. They're the best.
Some people complain that they're too rowdy or whatever.
Some of them.
It's just because I guess the Philippines is not doesn't have that sporting culture where you come to the games and you watch and you get rowdy.
Football's not golf.
Yeah, that's
exactly.
That's a nice way to put it. And I think some of my most fun watching the UFL games has been sitting next to the ultras and having them sing along and singing the game. So yeah, definitely, I agree with probably the best fans.
Johnny Skid Marks, introduce yourself to me. I want to know who you are. You see me in MP? I freaking like your name. I have a feeling you had some problems when you were young. You're a young kid. Okay. Next, from Jack Clemente.
An ultra.
Best Kaya victory under your watch. What would you say was your best?
My first game against Global. 2-0 down after 10 minutes, getting one back before half-time and winning the game at the end.
Yep.
It's probably my best, our best game in terms of, to peg 2 back against Global was tough enough, but to win the game. We did it later on, but I think the first game was a little bit more special because there was no...
Was this in the league?
Yeah.
It was in the league, yeah.
So
Sadio broke his arm.
Coach David Perković says it's just his first game against Global.
Yeah.
So if you remember that game.
Having said that, another memorable game was against the Archers, where it was a 3-3 draw. Chris in the 89th minute scored a block kick.
Don't remind me.
And then right at the end, you guys.
We have to rub it in.
Yeah, well, it was a draw.
Yeah, but it was a one game for us. But you know what?
It was a good game, though.
It was a good game.
It was entertaining for the fans, and that was brilliant.
Me, I don't care if I'm, what I'm after is good games.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. My players know this. I mean, as long as the other team beat us, not the referees.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hit on you guys talaga. I'm talking about the referees.
Right.
Anytime it's the game is played, the merits of its game, regardless of what,
in good faith,
that would be the best thing for a coach. Actually, it's fulfilling, no matter what. That's what David said. Next question, Anak Liberto. Wrong question, pare. Ang Loyola kalaban ang Archers tomorrow.
That's right.
Are you asking Coach David Perković? Are you asking me? Anak Liberto, i-tweet mo ulit. Alam namin kung sino.
Yeah, well, obviously.
Kaya is playing
Stallion tomorrow.
Stallions.
They're playing Stallions tomorrow. Maybe David, you can answer this, and maybe let's just change it. Do you fancy your chances of stopping Stallions tomorrow?
Well, there's not any stopping to be done. I mean,
well, you'll never know. Look,
I said before in my post-match interview with Socceroos that it was a game that I was really worried about. When you're playing a team that hasn't won, their desire to win is enormous. Not only that, it's you never see a team not win a game in a league. They always win at least 1 or 2 games, even if you're at the bottom of the ladder. And your players naturally pick themselves up for the big games and a bit lower for those games. And it's my job to try to equalise that out a little bit. So I saw that one as a threat. So it will be, although they're very different teams, I think it will be very similar in the sense that Stallions have 2 supposedly really tough games. Not that there's ever ever an easy game. They got us, and then they got Loyola right after us. So they're going to want to get a win, at least one win out of those 2 games. So we have to make sure that we turn up tomorrow and make sure that we've started every game this season well so far. So I hope we just continue that, and if we do that, we should come away with the points.
There's another question, David. This is from Ivan Saldajeno. Aside from Kaya, who do you think has a big chance of winning the UFL League, I suppose?
Easy one would be to pick would be Loyola, obviously. Coming off a cup win, not having any changes from the cup to the league. They start off in smooth sailing, so to speak. So they're definitely the favourites, I would say. But outside of that, you can never write off a global, that's for sure. And to win a league, it's going to take a lot. It's 24 games this year. So.
It's 3 rounds now, folks.
That's right.
Yeah, 24 games. So there's going to be an opportunity for the teams that haven't started well to get back into it. Like when I came into the league, last league, we already had no chance of winning the league because the season was so short. At least 24 rounds, it's an actual league, not a sprint to the end line. You're going to have a chance to recover from a bad start or a mid-season slump, I think. So, those 2 are probably the biggest ones, especially Loyola, of course.
Yeah. You know, the way I see it, because like years ago I predicted that in the UAAP, that all the teams in the men's division and now even the women would be a little bit more balanced already. The coaches are more knowledgeable now. There's a lot of recruitment going on now. And I think in the UFL, when the initial year, I expected those teams to be the ones who would be on top, and Kaya included.
Yeah.
The top 3, Loyola, not necessarily in that order, Loyola,
Global.
Kaya, Global. Yeah. These are the 3 teams that I expected really to come up. But Stylons did a yeoman's job really actually last season, doing the league and the cup.
Yeah.
But remember we asked him, after winning all of this, Ernie changes 10, the most number of players, right? So
having said that, Ernie had to change because he didn't have that many
local players,
Filipino players in the team. So he had to change a lot coming off the back of that league going into the cup. And a lot of teams have that adjustment now as well. Even us, we had a lot of foreigners in our squad last league. So we've had to change as well. So it's going to take a few games for the teams to settle a little bit, especially Pasargad. They weren't even in the cup, so coming into the league, they're coming in really raw. So it'll be interesting to see how they go after now they've had a few games in now. So.
To reiterate what I just said about other teams moving up in the cup. Look in the cup. I don't know if the other teams didn't take the cup seriously, like they take the league. But Pachanga came in. I mean, we came in
third.
Did well.
Were we third?
Yeah, you guys were third.
Oh, you were third.
That's the highest you guys finished.
Yeah. Our first silverware, unofficial. We just need to, if we want to talk, if we're talking, I'm not talking for archers now, I'm talking for Philippine football. It will be really better for Philippine football if all these other clubs can maintain a certain upsurge.
Yeah.
Pachanga, Archers, even Pasargad, even Socceroos, they would be, But I can predict this early because I predicted in the cup. I knew who was going to win it. I just didn't say it because I couldn't say it. I might lose a job.
So are you going to call it?
Who's winning?
Who's going to win it?
Who's winning?
The league?
Yeah.
It's going to be a toss-up. It'll be a toss-up.
Between?
2 to 3 teams. That's the same teams I just mentioned. Well, we haven't lost a game yet.
Right.
But we got to
Last year, I did something when I was writing. I do some football writing as well. I wrote off Kaya like 2-3 games in to the season. This year, I'm not doing that at all. I mean, I've seen how you guys play, and you guys are definitely going to be up there. I think, barring any unfortunate incidences or injuries or whatever.
Like the unfortunate incidents we already had.
Besides that.
Right. Yeah, so damn, it's gonna be a fun league, definitely.
You know what? For some of you fans, or even not just fans, but football fans or people who used to play or coach, it takes time. Like they say, Rome wasn't built in a day.
Yeah.
So when there's a new coach in town, for sure there'll be a new philosophy.
Yeah.
It doesn't work overnight.
Yeah.
In the club system, if you lose the core of your first team, it's kind of be difficult.
Yeah.
Okay, like Stallions, I know they're going to struggle. They're going to struggle this year. That's all up to Ernie now how to do it. Global, like I said in the last show, depends on the coach, the new coach, of how he handles.
Yeah.
Okay, I've seen David work. I haven't seen Lee work yet. As I said, let's see how good he is in the experience that he has. I mean, excuse me, with all the hype that they had on him,
And the star players.
Let's see. I mean, Izo injured again, but just one. He's just one player.
Yeah.
Remember, you got 25 roster. Not all the teams, folks, have 25. We don't have 25. We don't need 25.
We don't either.
Yeah, because we want the Archers is the development. We're after development.
Right.
We want as much as possible to have all the players playing.
Right.
Right. Not in a single game, but of course, give us all the other chances to play. Huh? Like David just said, we have 24 games this year. Stallions, I said, will struggle. Loyola, they
Playing out of their skin at the moment.
I mean, they're still on a high.
Yeah.
They're still on a high. And it's a good high. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Okay, and they're actually, like Loyola, you don't even have to coach them anymore. The way I see Loyola right now, I mean, it's just like a wind-up toy. They're like a wind-up toy right now, finishing the league very strong, not meaning any thing of Pachanga. The Pachanga made an entertaining championship game. Global has got some work to do. Global definitely has some work to do. Kaya, I think Coach David Perković has his philosophy already now in the team.
Yeah.
Last year, not too much yet because he just came in, right? It takes a while for the other people to understand. Okay, it's not like basketball.
Well, even basketball.
Basketball, no, even basketball. Put Michael Jordan in, he can win the game already. What I'm saying, in basketball, there's only 5 players, boys and girls. Basketball's 5 players. Football, 11. On the field, substitution, basketball, endless. Football, you get out, you don't come back in.
Right.
Once you're subbed, right? So, take time for those other people who think of this coach is not good, this coach is useless, this coach doesn't know his business and all that. You gotta understand it first. The more you understand the quirks of coaching, especially in football, the more you'll appreciate the game, the more you'll appreciate the club that you support or the team that you are a fan of. Okay? And
We're gonna wrap it up.
Don't say soccer.
Why not? Why not? I bet you David's been calling it soccer for a while,
No
no?
freaking way.
What?
Football.
The team
I'm
is
from
called-
Australia and
Team is called Socceroos.
Yeah, I'm from Australia and from a very young age it was called soccer.
Yeah.
It changed when that revolution happened, but I've never called it soccer.
It's football.
All right. All right, guys.
FIFA. Football. That's what the F is. Okay, never mind.
Wrapping the show up. All right. Appreciate all the support you guys been throwing our way. Sarah Sasal Football Club, of course. Tough draw against Philippine Air Force just last night. But yeah, we appreciate.
They drew?
Yeah, they drew 1-1. Yeah, thanks for the support you guys throw our way. We appreciate. We wouldn't be able to do this without you guys, and of course the listeners and the viewers. You guys allow us to sit down with great people like David for an hour and a half, and they don't have a choice about it. So we really appreciate that. Dude, check out the new. This is a shameless plug. Metro Society. I've got a 10-page spread on it on Philippine football.
Bisaya kita. Take some lang.
It's a nice one about the century-long wait that we've had for this upsurge in Philippine football. I'd appreciate if you guys give it a read.
Doesn't this guy look like Basti or Tadi or something?
The cover is of the Green the LaSalle team who won the championship of the UAAP recently. So guys, check it out. Metro Society's latest issue, and that wraps us.
You never see any article about football in a magazine like this.
It's awesome. It's 10 pages. It's really long. That was the 12th episode, and we'll see you guys again next week. Coach Hans is going to be away for a while. Where are you going? Bacolod. Recruitment. Ooh.
Recruit for all my 3 teams.
I see.
Not for the Archers.
All right. Well, then we'll see you guys again next week. Are we doing it next week or 2 weeks from now? Yeah, next week. Thanks a lot, Coach, for stopping by.
David, thank you.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Good luck in the games, and hopefully we'll have you back on the show soon.
Yeah, no problem.
Right.
No, we'll have him only back when he's got his dreadlocks. I'm giving him a year, at least 11 months.
I'll see you guys next week.
I guess next week, next episode, again, you'll know when we know.
See you guys. Peace.